and I have no doubt, pure boxing skill against pure boxing skill, Crawford could outduel anybody. My question is once you're not concerned about his power, that is a mistake. Especially for a smaller dude moving up 2 weight classes. Now Crawford wants us to believe that he should move up 3 weight classes. I understand what this is about.
Stephen A. Smith has criticized Canelo in his recent interview for fighting a drained Terence Crawford in the upcoming showdown. Meanwhile, Jim Lampley has recalled Canelo's fight with Floyd Mayweather, hoping that he has learned a lot from the experience. He went on to highlight Canelo's exceptional fighting abilities, accompanied by a great resume of winning most of the time and never being knocked out. He predicted that Canelo is going to pose a real threat to Crawford this time.
Canelo's smart. Absolutely, he's smart. He knows this business as well as anybody. So no, it's not surprising that Canelo learned from Floyd and has employed some of that in the retention of his career. Canelo still knows how to make fireworks when he absolutely has to make fireworks. But at the end of the day, he's a counterpuncher. He's a great defender. He has the most solid punch resistance of anybody in the sport. Nobody's ever knocked him off balance. Nobody's ever really knocked him down. There's only one official knockdown in his career, and it was because he bounced off the ropes when Jose Cotto hit him with a hard shot to the chest.
At the same time, Jim praised the fighting style of Terence Crawford, highlighting that he resembles Sugar Ray Robinson in many ways. He pointed out that Crawford has strong offensive and defensive attributes and possesses an inner streak he can tap into at crucial moments to take control of the fight.
You like him against Bud Crawford?
I do like him against Bud Crawford, but I do think that it's a great fight. Now, I could change my mind when we get closer. Bud Crawford, to me, is a latter-day Sugar Ray Robinson. He has the multiple skills of Sugar Ray Robinson. He can defend or attack. He has a deep inner mean streak that he can employ at any moment in a fight to get what he wants. Before the fight.
Furthermore, Jim Lampley went on to share his thoughts on Terence Crawford's significant fight with Errol Spence. He noted that while most people favored Spence, he did not, highlighting how the fight took a dramatic turn. He also praised the upcoming matchup, calling it a battle between 2 of the best professional boxers in an intellectual showdown, stepping into the ring against each other.
Before the fight against Errol Spence, there were quite a lot of people in the sport, in boxing media, who were saying, I like Spence to win the fight. I was one of those people who said, no way. Errol Spence doesn't have the depth and the intellectual understanding of prize fighting to beat Terence Crawford, who is the great professional of his era, along with Canelo Alvarez. That's why that's such a great fight. They are the 2 living, practicing ultra professionals in the sport. They know it inside out. And one way or another, it's going to be a spectacular intellectual matchup.
Meanwhile, Rolando Raleigh Romero, sharing his thoughts on Canelo versus Crawford, went off on Canelo. He expressed his desire to see Crawford beat him, noting that although there is a weight division difference, he would still like to see Canelo lose. He justified this by pointing to Canelo's last fight with William Skull, calling it a disrespectful performance and a disservice to the sport of boxing.
Canelo. I hope Crawford beats the out of him.
Really? Yeah?
Now, I'll tell you like this, the weight division things, but I hope Crawford beats the out of him.
Why do you want to see Crawford beat the ish out of Canelo?
I just hope Crawford beats the out of him.
Why? Like, Canelo, is it because of the last fight? Like you haven't been a fan of Canelo, or why? Like, you like Crawford that much? Took your coffee.
What Canelo did on that day was disrespectful to boxing.
Joining the speculation, Stephen A. Smith shared his thoughts, asserting that he dislikes the idea of Canelo fighting Crawford at 168 pounds, despite acknowledging that Crawford is the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet, and so is Canelo Alvarez. He also recalled appreciating having Canelo Alvarez on his show in an interview last week.
I hate it. I don't like it one bit. I think that Crawford is the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet. I think that Canelo is one of those folks. But Canelo is fighting at 168, which means he's walking around heavier. And I appreciate Canelo Alvarez coming on this show, having me interview him last week before his victory.
Despite holding him in high regard, Steven went on to criticize Canelo for choosing to fight Terence Crawford. He pointed out that he wants to see Canelo face someone like David Benavidez, whom everyone in the boxing world wants to see him fight. He blasted Canelo for ignoring Benavidez, emphasizing that for him, David Benavidez is the real deal and deserves a shot at Canelo. He also noted that unlike David, Crawford might also employ the running around strategy as a defense mechanism.
I appreciate his honesty and his candor, but I was honest too. He knows what I want. I want what all boxing fans want. We want to see the reigning, defending super middleweight champion of the world fighting against another super middleweight champion in David Benavidez. David Benavidez does not deserve to be ignored. Canelo does not need to walk around acting like David Benavidez wouldn't be a money fight for him. You know good and damn well he would be. David Benavidez is the truth. He is something special. He is the man that the great Mike Tyson called the Mexican monster, and he most certainly is. He is worthy.
While a number of people have raised concerns about Crawford being the smaller fighter in terms of weight, Stephen A. Smith also pointed out the possibility of Canelo being at a disadvantage in this regard. He noted how Charlo had defeated Canelo despite being smaller in size and expressed his strong desire to see Canelo fight someone at his own level at this stage of his career, rather than taking on Crawford.
For the rest of the fight, because he knew he was too small to hurt Canelo. You can be as gifted as you want to be if you're Terence Crawford. And I have no doubt, pure boxing skill against pure boxing skill, Crawford could outduel anybody. My question is once you're not concerned about his power, what then? We need to see Canelo in the ring with a level of power he has to respect so we can see both his power and his boxing magnificence on a level competing against somebody who is supposed to be on the same level.
Yep.
Otherwise,
absolutely.
we're being cheated.
At the same time, Stephen A. Smith voiced strong criticism against Terence Crawford. He pointed out that the way Crawford is approaching the fight is somewhat misguided, noting that moving up 3 weight divisions makes him far too small to face Canelo at this point. Smith argued that it's the wrong matchup given the size and weight difference.
Let me tell you what I think should be going. The notion that Terence Bud Crawford should move up 3 weight classes, 21 pounds, to fight Canelo Alvarez for the super middleweight champion of the world. He's entirely too small. Entirely too small. Jermell Charlo already proved that. At 154, he went in the ring against Canelo, and he was entirely too small. That's what it was.
Voicing his stance in a more detailed manner, Stephen emphasized that Crawford is making a real mistake this time. He asserted that Crawford should reconsider fighting Canelo and think about walking away from the matchup. Nonetheless, he acknowledged Crawford's exceptional boxing skills, recognizing him as one of the sport's elite talents.
He wouldn't go away. He's wrong for us, baby. He's wrong. Let it go. Paulo couldn't do it and lost fight number 2. Trained him for Rocky 3 and then got killed in Rocky 4 by Drago because he couldn't let it go. Bud Crawford needs to let it go. Too small. No doubt boxing skills are sublime. No doubt he's pound for pound one of the best on the planet Earth. Crawford is the real deal. The real deal. And him and Charlo is the fight I want to see. Him and Charlo is the right fight I want to see. But y'all gonna stop holding it against Charlo.
Furthermore, Stephen A. Smith advised Crawford not to stand in front of Canelo at any point during the fight. He suggested that Crawford could deliver a great performance if he keeps moving, uses his boxing skills, and avoids giving Canelo the opportunity to land a clean shot. He asserted that this is the only strategy that could allow Crawford to neutralize Canelo in this matchup.
It didn't affect him. And on top of it all, it antagonizes him and makes him stalk you even more. And on top of it all, he's a great fighter and a great boxer and a power puncher in both hands. You don't stand in front of that man. You move. You stick, you move, you hug. That's what you do. You grab and hug. I don't give a damn if you got to fall on the canvas on purpose and be Martin Lawrence in that episode when he fought Tommy the Hitman Hearns. And he was on the ground and punching at his feet. I don't give a damn what you got to do. What you don't do is stand right in front of Canelo Alvarez.
Reflecting on the potential matchup, Wade Plemons shared his thoughts, noting that Canelo brings several challenges with his physicality, while Crawford enters the fight with strong competitiveness. Despite both fighters having impressive skills, he emphasized that Canelo holds the upper hand in several key areas.
I gotta be honest, that performance, while again, it shows me that there are so many big hurdles between the physicality that Canelo brings to a fight and the competitiveness that Crawford would be able to provide 2 more weight classes up from where he struggled at 154. And also, I think Canelo has multiple styles in which he can fight as well. Offensively, on the front foot, defensively, counter puncher, lead the action. He's got all that in the bag, even if he hasn't shown it recently. I think that Team Canelo probably looks at that Crawford fight, and as much as we're all looking at it and going, man, that might not be as competitive, or that's probably not something Crawford should do.
At the same time, Stephen Edwards shared his thoughts and confidently picked Terence Crawford to beat Canelo. He cited examples of past boxing matches where weight differences didn't result in mismatches, arguing that skill can outweigh size. He went on to praise Crawford, asserting that he sees him as the only fighter capable of defeating Canelo.
I don't see the guy, that's why I picked Crawford to beat him. I don't see the guy from 2020, 2021, the guy that was to beat Caleb, to beat Billy Joe Sanders and Callum Smith.
Yeah.
That guy right there, to me, that was the apex of his career.
Yep.
That was right there.
Yep.
He was right. That guy right there, he gonna have trouble with it. He give anybody in history a super middleweight a tough fight. Right now, I see him slipping a little bit. And it's a game of inches. It's not a big difference between an A fighter and an A+ fighter. You know what I mean? It's not that big of a difference between a guy who's a title holder and a guy who's a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? It's not. Like, let's just think about Tim Bradley's a Hall of Famer, right?
Edwards noted that in a fight, anyone can get hurt, but he highlighted the exceptional ability of Terence Crawford. He asserted that Crawford is an incredible puncher who can land his shot at any moment.
He was right. That guy right there, he gonna have trouble with it. He give anybody in history a super middleweight a tough fight. Right now, I see him slipping a little bit. And it's a game of inches. It's not a big difference between an A fighter and an A+ fighter. You know what I mean? It's not that big of a difference between a guy who's a title holder and a guy who's a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? It's not. Like, let's just think about Tim Bradley's a Hall of Famer, right?
Stephen Edwards further noted that while debates continue over who is better, he has arrived at his own analysis. He emphasized that Crawford possesses an exceptional ability to land punches with shock value. He described Crawford as a fast puncher with outstanding athleticism, capable of asserting his dominance against any opponent.
Because you know, there was a Crawford little boots thing going, boots back and forth, like little debates on who everybody throws better.
Right.
And Karan was telling me, it's like, Boots is faster, he probably punches harder.
Right.
But Crawford hits you with shots that you don't see more,
right,
which have a different kind of effect. He's like, Crawford, you gotta be like, oh shit, like it's a different kind of punch. He's like, if they were just, both of them was punching in your face, he's like, Boots probably, I know Boots is fast, he probably punches a little harder, but Crawford hits you, he's like, I could see Boots' shot coming. He said, Crawford stuff, you don't see it. So that's the kind of shots that have like a shock value to them.
Echoing his belief in Crawford's ability, Edwards asserted that he sees a strong chance of Crawford hurting Canelo. He emphasized that Crawford has the skill to land punches between exchanges, and with his incredible ability to deliver unexpected shots, he could prove to be a serious challenge for Canelo.
Crawford has that really unique, like, sucker punch ability where he can hit you right in between your punches with shots that you can't expect. Those are the worst kind of shots. Just like me, like, hey Sean, you got a cigarette, man? And you go reach in your pocket to give me a cigarette and knock you out cold. You know what I'm saying? He has that ability. So I definitely think that that he can hurt Canelo. I definitely think he can hurt him. Canelo got one of the best chins I've ever seen, but I wouldn't like bet my mortgage that he can knock him out, but I do believe that he can hurt him. Anybody can be hurt, man, when you get hit with shots that you don't see. And James Toney hurt one of my favorite fighters, Evander Holyfield. And even though Holyfield was old,
Meanwhile, Danny Garcia has raised concerns for Crawford. He acknowledged that Crawford has been actively boxing throughout his career and possesses a champion's mindset, but expressed worry about the move up in weight class. Garcia noted that it's a steep hill to climb and that Crawford deserves credit for taking this bold step, but warned that Canelo may simply be too much for him.
But Crawford has been active and he's been a champion his whole career. You know, that's something you got to give Crawford for. You got to give Crawford his flowers. He's really been a champion since 2012. You know, has never not been a champion. So he has the champion's mindset. He is going up to 168. So that's a steep hill to climb. You know, I mean, he has the tools, but I think Canelo's gonna. My personal opinion, I think Canelo's gonna be too much for him.
Danny pointed out that he would be surprised if Crawford actually wins. In that case, he believes Crawford should be ranked among the top fighters across all 3 divisions. However, he sees that outcome as highly unlikely. He noted that moving up 3 weight classes presents a difficult scenario, making it hard for Crawford to perform at his best against Canelo.
All 4 belts in 3 different divisions. That's like going up all them weight classes to beat Canelo. I mean, if he wins this fight, you got to put him up there probably top 3 of all time. But it's going to be a steep hill to climb. You know, it's going to be tough. If he can do it, all praise to him. But I think it will be too much for him. That's just my personal opinion.
Meanwhile, top-ranked manager Frank Stay shared his thoughts on the matchup, stating that he supports both fighters but leans more toward Crawford, as he has known him personally for a longer time than Canelo. He praised Crawford as a generational talent and highlighted his top ranking on the pound-for-pound list.
I know I've been around Canelo a few times, but as far as a relationship, I don't know him like that. I've just seen him in the gym train a few times. He's been in this gym a couple times. But I know Terence Bud Crawford on a personal level, and I've known Terence over a decade. So I've always, even as he was a prospect with under 10 fights, I always thought one day he was going to be one of the best fighters in the world. And right now, he's arguably pound for pound #1. I have him in a way kind of rotating depending on who's fighting. The most recent on who's #1, but Terence Crawford is a generational fighter, probably the best pound-for-pound fighter over the past 5 years.
Frank Stay went on to assert that this fight is a great opportunity for Crawford to cement his legacy in boxing. He predicted that Crawford will score a stoppage against Canelo in this matchup, which would further solidify his position as one of the sport's elite.
And, you know, what a fight that is for him and Canelo, Allegiant Stadium in September. Mexican Independence Day, another Mexican holiday. I love it. It's a big event. Maybe I'll show up in attendance for something like that. It's a big stadium. I don't know if I want to get caught in all that traffic and that chaos and all the germs that dirty people bring around with them. So, but but for real, I'm excited about it, and I think this is Bud's time to cement himself. I think this fight between Terence Crawford and Canelo will solidify the #1 fighter of this generation.
Who do you think wins?
I like Crawford. I like Crawford either by stoppage. I think he has the ability to make Canelo, overwhelm Canelo, and make Canelo quit, maybe in the corner.
At the same time, Staya noted that the outcome could vary. Crawford might make Canelo quit in the ring or secure a stoppage, but ultimately he believes Crawford will win by unanimous decision. He also stated that this fight will be much easier for Crawford than many people expect, despite the perception that it will be a tough challenge.
Maybe even stop him, maybe even shock us. It would be a shocker if he knocks Canelo out, but I think it's a possibility. But ultimately, Terence Bud Crawford, unanimous decision. I think it's going to be a much easier fight than people think.
Antonio Gates also predicted that Crawford might succeed in outpointing Canelo. He went on to praise Crawford's fighting skills, which he believes will be key in this matchup. However, he also acknowledged that Canelo's power will be a significant challenge that Crawford will need to overcome first.
Terence Crawford, Canelo.
Yeah, I believe Terence Crawford is going to be in top shape, and I believe he's good enough to outpoint Canelo. But I believe the power would be a challenge, if you will. So I'm going to say Terence Crawford.
Terence Crawford?
Because I think Terence Crawford is the best boxer in the world.
One ring, two legends, a clash that could reshape boxing history. Will Crawford defy the odds, or will Canelo's power reign supreme? Let us know your prediction in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss the biggest fight breakdowns and boxing debates. Until next time, keep your guard up and your passion stronger.